Sharon Tate. A rising Hollywood actress in the late 1960s, Sharon Tate became one of the most tragic symbols of celebrity violence in American history. In August 1969, she was 8.5 months pregnant and living in Los Angeles with her husband, director Roman Polanski. On the night of August 8th, members of the Manson family cult broke into her home and brutally murdered her, along with 4 others. The killers were followers of Charles Manson, who believed he was igniting a race war through a series of shocking crimes. Tate's murder horrified the nation, not only because of her fame and pregnancy, but because of the sheer randomness and brutality of the attack. The case marked a cultural turning point, often described as the symbolic end of the optimistic 1960s in Hollywood. The highly publicized trial led to the conviction of Manson and several of his followers, cementing the crime as one of the most infamous celebrity murder cases in modern history. John Lennon. As a founding member of the Beatles, John Lennon was one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century. After the band's breakup, he continued a successful solo career, while also becoming known for his outspoken political activism. On December 8, 1980, Lennon was shot multiple times outside the Dakota apartment building in New York City by Mark David Chapman, a disturbed fan who had been waiting for him. Earlier that same day, Lennon had signed an album for Chapman, making the crime even more chilling. Chapman later claimed he was angered by Lennon's fame and certain remarks he had made about religion and popularity. Lennon's death triggered worldwide mourning, with fans gathering in massive vigils across major cities. His murder sparked renewed discussions about gun control, celebrity security, and the psychological dangers of obsession. More than 4 decades later, it remains one of the most shocking losses in music history. Gianni Versace. An internationally celebrated fashion designer, Gianni Versace built a global empire known for bold prints, luxury fabrics, and glamorous runway shows. On July 15, 1997, he was shot and killed on the steps of his Miami Beach mansion. His killer, Andrew Cunanan, was already wanted for multiple murders committed during a cross-country crime spree. Versace's death stunned the fashion world and dominated headlines for weeks, partly because of his immense fame, and partly because Cunanan's motives were unclear. The killer died by suicide 8 days later, leaving many questions unanswered. The case highlighted both the vulnerability of high-profile public figures and the intense media spectacle that can surround celebrity tragedies. Versace's brand survived and continued under the leadership of his family, but his death marked a devastating moment for the global fashion industry. Nicole Brown Simpson. Nicole Brown Simpson was the ex-wife of former football star O.J. Simpson. In June 1994, she and her friend Ron Goldman were found stabbed to death outside her Los Angeles condominium. The investigation quickly focused on O.J. Simpson, whose arrest and subsequent trial became a media phenomenon. Televised live and followed daily by millions, the trial exposed deep cultural divides in America, particularly around race, policing, and celebrity privilege. Despite substantial forensic evidence, Simpson was acquitted in the criminal trial, a verdict that sparked intense public debate and protests. Later, a civil trial found him liable for the deaths. Nicole Brown Simpson's murder remains one of the most discussed cases in legal history, illustrating how fame can dramatically shape public perception and courtroom outcomes. The case also influenced media coverage of criminal trials and raised awareness about domestic violence. Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur was one of the most influential rappers of the 1990s, known for his poetic lyrics, social commentary, and charismatic presence. On September 7, 1996, he was shot multiple times in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas after attending a boxing match. He died 6 days later at the age of 25. His murder occurred during a period of escalating tensions between East Coast and West Coast hip-hop communities, and many believed it was connected to industry rivalries. For decades, the case remained unsolved, fueling conspiracy theories and widespread speculation. Tupac's death became a defining moment in music culture, symbolizing both the creative brilliance and the volatility of the era. His albums continued to sell in massive numbers after his passing, reinforcing his legacy as a transformative artist whose influence extended far beyond his short life. The Notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace, known professionally as the Notorious B.I.G., was another towering figure in 1990s hip-hop. Just 6 months after Tupac's death, he was killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in March 1997. Like Tupac's case, his murder was widely believed to be connected to the East Coast-West Coast rivalry, although definitive answers remained elusive for many years. Wallace had recently released music that showcased his storytelling ability and commercial appeal, positioning him as one of the genre's most promising stars. His death deepened the sense of crisis within the rap community and intensified scrutiny of violence within the industry. Despite his brief career, the Notorious B.I.G. left behind a powerful musical legacy that continues to shape hip-hop culture. His murder remains one of the most haunting unsolved celebrity killings of the era. Rebecca Schaefer. Rebecca Schaefer was a young television actress best known for her role on the sitcom My Sister Sam. In July 1989, she was shot and killed at her Los Angeles apartment by an obsessed fan who had tracked down her address through public records. The murder shocked Hollywood and brought national attention to the dangers of stalking. At the time, anti-stalking laws were limited, and personal information was often easily accessible. Schaefer's death directly influenced the passage of stronger anti-stalking legislation in California and later across the United States. The case forced the entertainment industry to reconsider how it protected performers from obsessive individuals. Though her career was just beginning, her tragic death led to lasting legal reforms that continue to protect public figures and private citizens alike. Selena Quintanilla. Selena Quintanilla was a beloved Tejano music star who had successfully crossed over into mainstream American pop culture. In March 1995, she was shot and killed by Yolanda Saldivar, the president of her fan club, during a confrontation over financial misconduct. Selena was only 23 years old and at the height of her career. Her death devastated fans across the United States and Latin America, where she was considered a cultural icon. Massive public memorials were held, and her funeral drew thousands of mourners. The case highlighted the vulnerability that can exist within close professional relationships, especially when trust is broken. Despite her short life, Selena's influence endured through posthumous album releases, films, and tributes that celebrated her impact on music and representation in the entertainment industry. Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman was a respected comedian and actor known for his work on Saturday Night Live and various television shows. In May 1998, he was shot and killed in his home by his wife while he slept. She later died by suicide, leaving behind a deeply tragic story of domestic turmoil. Reports indicated that substance abuse and personal conflicts had contributed to instability in their relationship. Hartman's colleagues described him as generous and professional, making the sudden loss even more shocking to the entertainment community. His death brought attention to issues of mental health, addiction, and domestic violence. The tragedy was particularly painful because it occurred in what appeared publicly to be a stable family environment. Hartman's legacy as a gifted performer endures, but his murder remains a somber reminder of private struggles hidden behind public success. Christina Grimmie. Christina Grimmie was a talented singer who gained national recognition as a finalist on The Voice. In June 2016, she was shot and killed while signing autographs after a concert in Orlando, Florida. The attacker, who had traveled specifically to target her, was subdued by her brother before taking his own life. Grimmie's death shocked the music community and reignited discussions about security at live events, particularly smaller venues where artists often interact closely with fans. She was only 22 years old and widely seen as a rising star with a promising future. Vigils were held around the country, and fellow musicians paid tribute to her talent and kindness. The tragedy underscored the risks that can accompany public visibility and the unpredictable nature of violent obsession. Her memory continues to be honored by fans who celebrate her music and the warmth she brought to her performances.